it certainly is a big day for thousands and thousands of fans throughout the world who mark this milestone. He would have turned 60, of course. Michael Jackson died at the age of 50 back in 2009. He was no stranger to controversy, but one thing is for sure, he knew how to make hits, and he knew how to make a lot of money for his record labels. Let's take a quick look at some of the highlights of Michael Jackson's career. Of course, it all started when he was part of the Jackson 5. He was just 10 years old when this song came out, 1969, I Want You Back. He and the rest of the Jackson 5 appeared on the Ed Sullivan Show, a talk show on US television, and the rest, as they say, is history. Not long after that, he launched a solo career, releasing several albums as a teenager, but it was in 1979, the release of Off the Wall, that he really exploded. This album would eventually sell 19 million copies across the world. It didn't do that well when it was first released, but as people started hearing about Michael Jackson and the mania of Michael Jackson spread around the world, it absolutely exploded. 19 million copies worldwide. But this really was the big one in terms of money. 1983, Thriller is released, an absolutely incredible album because it would sell 67 million copies across the planet. To this day, it is the biggest selling album in music history. Michael Jackson would also go on to win 8 Grammys at the Grammy Awards in that particular season. Of course, he made a lot of money for his record label, and he also made a lot of money for himself. In 1991, he would sign a deal with Sony worth $65 million. In today's money, that's close to R1 billion. And he didn't stop there. I want to take you through a few of his albums just to give you a sense of the volume of sales that Michael Jackson managed to produce. His album Bad, 37.7 million albums around the world. Dangerous also did quite well, 30.2 million albums across the planet. Invincible was not a fantastic album in terms of record sales, but he still went platinum 7 times. In other words, he managed to sell 7 million copies of that particular album. So say what you like about Michael Jackson. He was, of course, making headlines for all the wrong reasons at times, but one thing he knew how to do was sell albums and make hits. All right, I'll have more on MJ and, of course, that 60th anniversary of his birth a little bit later. But first, it's over to Sandile with your sport.
Michael, I find that unbelievable. 32 times platinum of one album.
Absolutely. That was with Thriller. And, of course, that was just in the United States, Sandile. So he sold probably about another 35 million across the world in other markets outside of the US.
That is